Good morning. I just went out for a brisk walk, so I'm a little bit tired and winded, but it was nice. It's really cool outside, and it's like in the upper 40s or so. So there's a nice. Oh, there goes my alarm. Let's turn that off. Um, so I sometimes lately I've been trying to vent my stress through some sort of physical activity, uh, going outside and walking or riding on my bike. Because this morning I was feeling a little bit low, and it has to do a bit with my ability to socialize with people. So, I've always been a quiet person throughout my entire life. And people would always ask me, "Why are you so quiet? Why don't you talk?" I guess people thought that that was weird or antisocial or something of that nature, but growing up, I was always annoyed by the insistence that I should be talking all the time. And, this has to do a little bit with my introvertedness, but also I just have difficulty with self-advocacy. Sorry, my watch was buzzing. I have some difficulty with self-advocacy and speaking up when I need to or when I want to. So, some of my friends, they're often very busy. They have work to do, and I only have time to, catch up with them here and there. And sometimes those conversations kind of go back and forth. But other times those conversations can be very one-sided. And sometimes it has to do with, just a person's excitement or a person's, passion, that kind of thing. And I try to share in that the best I can. But sometimes I don't feel like I have enough time to talk. And excuse me. I feel as though my ability to speak up is subdued. I don't know how to speak up at sometimes. I don't know how to say, like, can we change the conversation politely, or can I say a little something about myself? Because I feel like I'll be rude or something, or I'll cause upset. But sometimes I have things I really need to share. And I need to talk to somebody about it. And then when I start to do that sometimes, it seems like the moment I start to do that, the conversation ends because the other person, it's usually a text conversation. The other person has to go, or we've run out of time, or they've fallen asleep, or something of that nature. And I feel like I never get a foothold anywhere in the conversation. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes. And when that does happen, it just sucks. It just really sucks. I do want to share in the excitement of my friends, but I don't know how to keep that balance. I don't know how to say, that's really cool. I also had this thing that happened, blah blah blah. I don't know when the conversations are supposed to end. I don't know when it's appropriate for me to step in. I've always had that issue, especially in group conversations. I mean, it's much easier one-on-one, but group conversations are the worst sometimes because you get talked over a lot. You try to engage in the topic of conversation with everyone, and it feels like your voice is not as important. It feels like what's going on in your life doesn't have as much value as the ones around you. You just feel like a third wheel sometimes. And it's exhausting. And it's hard sometimes not to get bitter about it. It's hard not to want to get angry and to say to that person, hey, why don't you let me talk for a second? That's not a productive way to go about it. That just causes upset, and it makes the other person feel bad for having spoken, and that's not what I want to do. I don't want to make people feel guilty for being excited about what they want to talk about, but I also want to have space in the conversation too. And other times it can be the opposite. Other times I can be the one talking. It depends on the person. I have multiple friends that have different dynamics. Sometimes it feels like pulling teeth to get something out of somebody. It feels like a chore to get people to open up. I question myself all the time about what is an appropriate question to ask someone. How long have I known the person? Is this something that if I ask them, they're willing to answer? I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm also just in general socially awkward. I I'm the kind of person that when I walk out in public, I don't really like to make much eye contact with people. And if I pass by somebody and somebody waves at me, I might get them a little nod and a little wave, but I won't like engage in conversation. I'm not the kind of person to go up to someone random. You know, that's the one thing that I've never understood, I guess, in certain social dynamics. Um, how do you just approach a stranger without them thinking you're a creep? How do you strike up a conversation with someone that you don't know without seeming so timid that they have no interest in having a conversation with you? Something I've struggled with in my entire fucking life. And I want to have conversations with people. That's the problem. I have one friend, he's very content being alone. And, sometimes I'll talk to him about this sort of thing. And he said, it doesn't really matter. Just do you, I guess. But the problem is I want to be more active socially. I don't want to just isolate myself into this one little circle or into this hole that I live in this fucking bedroom, because it's where I spend the most of my time and where I just sometimes wallow in self-pity. I'm trying to get help. I'm trying to let people know that I need help. But at the same time, I don't want to burden people. It's exhausting. I also just, I've learned a lot of things socially over the past few years. I remember my best friend got on to me many years ago for giving just short answers like okays and ahas and all that. And then from that point on, I did my best to try to engage in a conversation. And I really do my best. And you know who you are. You know who you, my best friend of all time. You know exactly who you are. And you probably remember me going through that. But at the same time, I sometimes we'll talk about things and I don't have any idea about it. Like, it's all him. He's the person that knows everything about it, and I do my best to ask questions and be curious and, continue that conversation, because from the point that he told me about how I was communicating incorrectly, or, not engaging, that was the main issue. I wasn't engaging enough. And now it seems sometimes that even whenever I try to do that, I can't always gain a foothold in the conversation. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Sometimes I will be staring at my phone, nearly panicking about what I should respond with, because I don't want him to get annoyed with me that I'm not engaging in the conversation. And I'm just looking at like a line, just a single sentence about what he said, and I'm like, say something, 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 say something. Just a spiral of chaos in my mind. I want to connect with people, but I don't know how all the time. So if you see this and you know me personally, just please let me know that I'm doing okay, with you, because I don't always know. I don't always know if I'm doing things right. I love you. You know I love you so much. My best friend. You've taught me the world, and I'm trying to use what you gave me. I'm sorry. I'm going to end it here. Be well and find love and light in your life.